Hi friends, today I am going to review the book Your Brain at Work Strategies for Overcoming Distraction, Regaining Focus, and Working Smarter. All Day Long by David Rock. The prefrontal cortex. The market demands that you become a knowledge worker and rewards you most for staying focused and creative. Yet emails, social media messages, and endless entertainment options make today the most distracting time in history. You can't change the world, but you can learn how your brain works and how to make it perform better. While your brain is a machine, it's not just a machine. However, the only way to be more than just a machine is to deeply understand the machine-like nature of your brain. Your brain is subject to surprising performance limitations. You can think at your highest levels for only limited periods of time. To make decisions or solve problems, you depend mainly on your powerful prefrontal cortex. However, the prefrontal cortex is a little like Goldilocks. For it to work well, everything has to be just right. Imagine the prefrontal cortex as a stage in a small theater where actors play a part. Distractions are everywhere, and with the always-on technologies of today, they take a heavy toll on productivity. The stage represents where you direct your focus. The actors represent information passing through your attention. Your stage needs a lot of lighting or energy. The audience is information from your inner world, your memories and thoughts. Members of this internal audience sometimes take over the stage, which can hold information from the external world, from your internal consciousness, or from both together. 5 functions. You can perform 5 functions with the information on your stage. 1. Understanding. Grasping a new concept means an actor must appear on stage and stay there long enough to connect with audience members. 1. Deciding. Process ideas by making decisions about them. 1. You compare them and make value judgments. 1. Recalling. Recall means pulling information out of the past, like pulling an audience member up on stage. 1. Memorizing. Memorize by moving an idea off the stage and into the audience. 1. Inhibiting. Keep excess or unwanted audience members off stage by inhibiting a recollection. 1. Having too many actors on stage distracts you and weakens your focus. While you can hold several chunks of information in mind at once, you can't perform more than one conscious process at a time with these chunks without impacting performance. Recalling a recent memory is easy, but to remember something from longer ago, you must sift through vast amounts of data. Thinking clearly about the future is hard. Thinking about current problems is easier because you know your problems and the emotions around them are clear. Tools for thinking. You can change how you work to fit how your brain works. Prioritizing is confusing, so prioritize prioritizing. Visualize the future rather than thinking about it abstractly. Use pictures, draw diagrams, or make charts to improve your processing. Track your time and attention. Learn when in the day you are sharpest. Then schedule energy-intense work accordingly. Shift tasks to match your focus. Peak mental performance requires just the right level of stress, not minimal stress. Ideas compete for space on your tiny stage, so simplify them. You can hold only 4 simple items in your mind, 4 items organized into narratives or chunks. Break these ideas down to a pitch, a metaphor, or an image that sums up their essence. Break larger assemblies of information into smaller, easy-to-remember chunks. As you learn more about your brain, you begin to see that many of your foibles and mistakes come down to the way your brain is built. Your brain can perform only one conscious process at a time. You run through other processes on autopilot like a driver on a familiar route. Having friends helps you change your brain because you get to speak out loud more often. Get rid of distractions. Every distraction means you must spend energy refocusing, which leads to making mistakes. Fight external distractions by disconnecting when you're trying to focus. Turn off your phone, computer, television, and all your devices. Fight internal distractions. Your brain continually generates activity, and distraction leads it to revert to its default network. Then you'll just think about internal issues like common worries. Your prefrontal cortex is the biological seat of your conscious interactions with the world. Your brain works best with just the right level of arousal. Too little and you're bored, too much and you're overwhelmed. Everyone's optimum level differs. 2 neurotransmitters are at work: dopamine, which relates to interest, and norepinephrine, which relates to alertness. Proper amounts of the two determine peak performance. When you hit a mental roadblock, you generate a repeating limited group of solutions. Shift gears. Let your brain idle. Quiet your mind to hear the subtle signals that lead to insights. The greater your happiness and relaxation, the more likely you are to generate these signals. Don't try to force your way through a problem. Simplify it. Identify the key elements. Consider how the problem's different aspects relate to each other. Metacognition. In addition to the stage, your awareness, your actors and your conscious information, and your audience information below the level of consciousness, one more player is at hand, your director. This is the aspect of your cognition that steps back from an experience, reflects on it, and makes changes. That process is called thinking about thinking, or metacognition. Giving people feedback creates an intense threat response that doesn't help people improve performance. Everyone's brain generates internal representations of the outside world. These maps, or networks or circuits, develop according to how you focus your attention over your lifetime. Your default network or narrative circuit tells a story about your relationship with the world. It acts as a lens or filter that interprets outside information. You also engage the world through direct experience. In this mode, you're more aware of your senses. These two networks correlate inversely. If one is active, the other is less so. You switch between these circuits naturally. You can learn to switch consciously with practice. That would help you distinguish which circuit is active, which helps you change how your mind works. Furthermore, if you practice what spiritual traditions call mindfulness and develop your internal experience, you can improve the health of your mind and your body. The limbic system. Your brain continually monitors your environment to determine if anything around you is threatening your existence or helping sustain your life. Every evaluation carries an emotional response that affects your thinking. The limbic system intertwines with emotion and tells you to pay attention to something. It continually makes toward or away decisions, pushing you away from a threat or toward a reward. These decisions don't all have the same intensity. Levels of risk and reward vary. Everyone's limbic system responds to different triggers or hot buttons. An overstimulated limbic system leaves less energy for your prefrontal cortex functions. In situations of high tension, you're more likely to go on autopilot and less likely to think clearly. The brain is more than a logic processing machine. Its purpose is to keep you alive. Certainty. Your brain continually makes predictions. When a pattern starts, your brain tries to complete it. Your brain likes to know what's going on, and it craves certainty like an addict craves a drug. Receiving a hit of certainty creates a pleasurable rush. That explains the popularity of games like Sudoku. They create a toward response that draws you in. But when a situation is uncertain or threatening, your brain generates an away response. When you expect things to happen a certain way, your expectations can alter the data your brain receives. You accept information that fits your expectations and reject information that doesn't. If things turn out as expected, you get a mild dopamine boost. You get more if you exceed expectations. If you fail, you feel threatened. Status is relative, and a sense of reward from an increase in status can come anytime you feel better than another person. Your brain closely links autonomy with certainty. Lacking control or agency threatens you and generates uncertainty. A lack of control can damage your health. Most people find reward in making even the most basic choices about life. Just giving people a choice or the feeling that they have a choice serves as a reward and generates a going toward response. Practice getting faster at such things as labeling and reappraising, reading other people's states, or developing a quiet mind when needed. That's only one reason that cognitive reappraisal is such a powerful tool for dealing with emotions. It lets you regulate your emotions by reframing what you're feeling to make it less painful. Just deciding how to perceive your life increases your autonomy and becomes a reward in itself. You can reframe a situation several ways. You can reinterpret it, which can be as simple as getting familiar with it. You can normalize it by learning more about its patterns. You can reorder it by consciously changing maps to find one that fits you better. The most challenging method is repositioning. That is, working to see the situation from another perspective. Collaboration. Ancient people evolved in a world of scarcity where they had to tell an ally from an enemy very quickly. Even today, your limbic system stays attuned to your social environment. If you don't know someone or lack social cues, you automatically default to seeing that person or situation as potentially hostile. This calls on a different set of brain circuits than thinking about friends or people you see as more like you. In a social situation, or even a collaborative project at work, as much as 80% of your mental processes will focus on your relationship to the other people involved. If your evaluation of them is positive, that is pleasurable and will release oxytocin. Positive connections help you function better. People with rich social networks tend to live longer. Those who have friends think better. Knowing more people makes you likelier to see things from multiple perspectives. Human emotions are messy, involving many brain regions, facilitating change. Leaders try to get others to change by giving them feedback. But no matter what technique you use, feedback often threatens people's status, so they reflexively defend themselves. Suggesting solutions to someone else's problems wastes everyone's time. Instead, if you can help people quiet their brains, they'll be more likely to generate their own insights. Work through the SCARF list. Simplify complex problems to help people release their mental energy. Speaking aloud reinforces learning, so ask questions to help people shift their focus and to guide them to greater awareness of their own mental processes. State clear objectives to help them build a sense of certainty and solve their own problems. Insights occur more frequently the more relaxed and happy you are. Don't use rewards and punishments to guide an organization through change. That would send a signal that you're trying to change people, thus threatening their status. Instead, help them focus on new areas by telling stories or by asking questions that connect them with past successes or that encourage reflection. Establish clear, mutual toward goals that people want to pursue, rather than away goals they want to flee. Review these goals regularly so people stay focused. Takeaways. You've never needed a clear mind more, and you've never faced more distractions. Your consciousness has surprisingly limited capacities. You can do 5 things with information: understand it, make decisions about it, memorize it, recall it, or inhibit it. To think better, stop multitasking. Simplify and visualize information. Your brain works best with the right level of arousal. Too much overwhelms it. Too little leaves you bored. Your emotions and your limbic system play a major role in your thinking. Use reappraisal to get a handle on your emotions. Label your feelings and reframe, reinterpret, reorder, and reposition them. Or use pattern recognition to normalize them. To help your brain function better, learn mindfulness. Reflect on your processes. To collaborate effectively, be aware of other people's SCARF, their sense of status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness, the social elements of cognition. To facilitate change, don't use feedback, give advice, or help solve problems. Instead, boost people emotionally and help them raise their own awareness. Did you know that around 70% of our viewers haven't subscribed to our channel yet? If you're one of them, why not consider hitting that subscribe button? It's a great way to stay up to date with our latest videos and support our channel at the same time. Join the majority of our community and subscribe today. Thanks for watching.